It's the SKOR North Twin Show.
Gentlemen, I've got good news. Good news for the SKOR North Twin Show.
All right.
I just got an alert. So we just brought this thing back from a 2-year hiatus a couple weeks ago. And the SKOR North Twin Show is currently charting on the Great Britain Baseball Podcast list. 10th.
Hey!
In Great Britain.
We're huge. I heard that. We're huge in Britain.
We are. I don't know why that is, but
is there Kepler's from Germany.
Yeah.
But is there like a Great Britain guy we're sleeping on? Or
Edward
prospect?
Julian, like that name is spelled like he's from somewhere in Europe.
But isn't he French? He's from Quebec, right?
Quebec, yeah.
So it's used the French spelling of okay.
But I mean, we could be huge like in just a pocket, like Manchester.
Yeah, I think we are pretty big in Manchester.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're just behind DraftKings
Liverpool.
Baseball is Dead podcast, just ahead of the Athletic Beggs and Brisbee podcast.
Okay.
And
Wow,
just ahead
that's
of
awesome.
Just ahead of John Boy's Talking Baseball podcast. Ahead of John Boy's Talking Baseball.
Nice.
In Great Britain. That's right. Thank you. All the Twins fans overseas. We see you. Appreciate you. Just want the Twins to win their first playoff game in almost 20 years. The magic number is still 58
It's like
after
3
a
days.
Twins off day. Yeah.
It's been 3 days of 58. I'd love to update this graphic. I
Yeah,
even checked all the
Cleveland's on a roll.
Yeah, Cleveland's kind of won a couple games here, but yeah, still 58. I'd like to
Yeah,
change it.
Cleveland's won 3 in a row. They now have a +9 run differential. They're only a game and a half back of the Twins as the Twins try to figure out sort of what to do at the trade deadline. They do get the Royals this weekend, so why don't you just go sweep the worst team in baseball and see where the chips fall going into Tuesday. But let's do this, gentlemen. Here it is, a Feedback Friday across SKOR North. And so let's dive into the comment section here, the YouTube comment section. If you're watching the SKOR North Twin Show, click the subscribe button on the SKOR North YouTube channel. And you can help us grow the show, too, by giving us a 5-star review and a positive rating on, or a 5-star rating and a positive review. I always get those mixed up. On Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Daniel Larson chimes in. Daniel Larson 889. Write this down. The Twins will not only win a playoff game, they will be playing late October baseball. This team has an 87 and 91 feel to it, in my opinion. Well, Judd, you're the only one that really experienced those seasons as an adult. So.
Yeah. First of all, 87 and 91, in my opinion, are not the same team at all. The 91 team, I think, legitimately could have won a World Series playing at Target Field. The 87 team, I mean, Phil, we've talked about this for years. Go back and look at the home and road splits. I mean, that team was incredible. That team was a product of the Metrodome, God rest its soul. But I actually like the starting pitching on this team a lot. Probably like the starting pitching, well, for sure more than 87 just as a whole, because you had Bert and you had Frankie V, but beyond that, it was like Les Straker. But I don't have the feeling that you have the grizzled sort of guys like Herbeck who had somehow they had DNA, winning DNA. I don't know that this team has enough of that. I like some players. Julian's been a great addition. But yeah, I don't see that. I don't see either team, which again are two very different teams, being a parallel to the 2023 Twins. Sorry.
I think this is probably oversimplifying it, but there is still a chance this could be an 87 situation. 91, they won the 15 games in a row in June or whatever it was, and they were, became one of the best teams in baseball.
Yes.
87 was always a little engine that could kind of underdog a group of young players throughout the 80s that finally clicked, in October, and no one really saw it coming. But you'd have to answer me the question, who's the Kirby Puckett? Who's the Frank Viola or Jack Morris? Who? I think they've got the closer locked in. But who's the guy that's gonna say, we're winning the games that I'm starting as a pitcher?
Right.
Or no, I'm going to be the one that puts the team offensively on my back for multiple games. I'm going to hit a big grand slam, or
It
I'm going to
should be
hit.
Correa, but it has not been.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Herbeck, so Puckett, obviously Hall of Famer. Herbeck, such an under the radar, underrated key to those teams. And I was just talking to him this morning on the Friday Tom Bernard show. So he was a one-time All-Star, only got MVP votes twice, finished second in MVP in 1984, years before they. But he was just like always coming up big in some of these games. You know, the getting on base, moving the chains and stuff. So like, but who's the Puckett? It's got to be, maybe it's Kirilloff. I don't know. Maybe it's Buxton at the end of the day if he gets right for a stretch run. But
I just don't see it, unfortunately. I'd love to be optimistic like that. But
do you guys think that this team can do more than just win a playoff game? Do you think that this team can, let's say play, because there's a difference between being the 87-91 teams that win the whole thing and playing into mid and late October. Is this a team you think, let's lower the bar a little bit, that can actually like win a round or two and surprise some people?
Zero chance. No. I don't even see it being close, and here's why. They are, if you consider their success post All-Star break, okay, they are beating up for the most part, and this is great, on bad teams. But they play a Seattle at home and they scuffle. And so does this team have the starting pitching, which by the way, I think is regressing a bit right now because it was so good in the first half, to their credit. But does this team have the components again, like the 87 and 91 teams, to have a player get hot enough or more than one to carry you? Does this team have the makeup from the manager on down to win multiple playoff rounds? There is nothing I have seen. I mean, hell, now going back to 2019 with the history that we have with that, there's nothing that I've seen that would indicate that this team has the intestinal fortitude as well as the talent to win rounds, to win a round, but especially like 2 rounds. Let's say that.
Can they win a playoff game? Yes, I think they can win a playoff game for the first time in 20 years almost. I think they can. Their next bar of can they advance in a series? I don't know. I would say it's a 50-50 coin flip because that's also baseball to a degree. But in terms of are they one of the best teams in the American League, and can they win a World Series right now? No. But I will say, as good as Texas has been and as good as the Rays, who, by the way, have now scuffled a little bit, but there isn't, in my opinion, a big stranglehold team. There isn't a juggernaut in the American League, at least in my opinion. I don't look at someone that is scary and that team's going to run through everyone in the American League. I think it's going to be an absolute dogfight among the American League playoff teams to get to the World Series.
Yeah, I do think they can win a game because it's baseball. If they get in, it's actually kind of amazing that they have not won a game in 18 tries. At some point, that will come to an end. And I do think they can win a series, in part because it's baseball. And if you can just have one of these really good starting pitchers give you 7 awesome innings, hand the ball over to Duran, and Kirilloff hits a 2-run double, and then Julian hits a bomb, and now you win a game 4-2. That can happen 100%. I do think they can win a series. And I will say, to your point, Judd, yeah, they got swept by Atlanta. They got swept by the Rays. They lost 4 of 6 to Baltimore. Some of these other teams that are at the top of their divisions, they've struggled against. They also have won 4 out of 6 from Houston. They swept the 2-game series against first place Milwaukee, and they won the season series 4-3 against the Yankees. So it's not like they can't fight with some of these teams. What do they add on Tuesday is going to help determine some of this too. And does Correa wake up a little bit more? Well, there's been some signs of life, but does he become the full version of Correa in the last 2 months? So there's a lot to be determined.
Well, yeah, and there's also a stubbornness component. Does Buxton play in the playoffs if his season does not spike up at some point?
Yeah,
because he becomes an out, and then Julian's at second now. Polanco's at third. So you've got one guy who's just flat out not that good at his position. You've got a guy now at third base whose throwing motion probably is not the greatest for a third baseman. I mean, I think second base is ideal for Jorge Polanco. And now are you demanding that Buxton has to play because he's Buxton and he's striking out? So like there's a definite aspect here from Falvey and Baldelli that I would be very curious to see, because I do think their stubbornness at times has no question cost them in playoff games, and it could again.
Yeah. Okay, we got a couple comments with the same spirit here. We'll start with Mr. Rocky, who says, Mackie, hey, Mackie. Mackey's basically saying, I am behind the win now trades until they don't work. And when they don't work, I'll say you don't know what you're doing. And then Jason Guitar 73 chimes in and says, you guys really need to watch your trade deadline show from a year ago. You loved the trades they made a year ago. So what do you guys have to say for Mr. Rocky, Jason, and people that are saying, wait a second, you can't turn back now and say you didn't like those trades from a year ago?
If a guy turns out to be injured, it's not our job to know his medicals. The Malley trade is an awful trade because we were not privy to what the Twins, if they weren't, shame on them. And if they were, what were you doing? On paper, I did applaud that trade, and I liked the spirit of trying to get a starting pitching to help, or starting pitching. But Paddock, who we knew, at least I think we talked about that, we knew more about his arm issue. Malley, we didn't have any clue it was this bad. We have every right to say, you were supposed to know that. It's not our job. You were supposed to, if we had flipped on the mics last year to do a trade deadline show, and I come on and said, I'm going to tell you right now, Malley, damaged goods. None of us would have been like, that's a great trade. The Baltimore trade's a little tougher. I will say that. The Lopez trade, a little, like, you gave up a ton because in addition to Cano, it's two prospects as well. But you did think that you were getting a closer from a team to be a setup guy. And at that time, Baltimore was not contending. So I will say that one's a little bit more difficult. But the Malley and Paddock trades, yeah, it's their job to know this stuff. It's not our job to know what, unless they want to start faxing me the medicals.
What do you think, Dex? Are we hypocrites?
No, not hypocrites. We applaud them when they actually go out and make big moves like that. And keep in mind, the Twins have historically really not made additions like that at the trade deadline before. And I'm in the camp, as I think we pointed out in yesterday's Twins show episode. I'm not letting those trades absolutely derail me or giving me more fear that they can't make another trade. That's going to happen sometimes. When you trade prospects, there's a fear that, hey, if all these guys end up being studs for the other team, that's the cost of doing business. And a lot of the other times, they don't materialize to anything. That just sometimes happens with trades. So yes, we applauded them at the time. I still kind of trust them to make the next trade, and I'm not going to let it make me completely gun shy over the idea that you can't make another trade either.
I think three things can be true here. I think the first thing that can be true is that, like Judd said, we don't have medical information. We don't, to say that like idiots on a microphone condemning or praising a trade is the same as like people that are paid a ton of money, 7 figures and 6 figures to, craft an organization, that they're like operating with the same level of intel or information. It's like, I think we're going to be wrong a lot because we're just idiots on microphones. But at the end of the day, we're just like entertaining people. And I think there's a different standard that you have to keep in mind here. But number two, I think the second thing that can be true is that the Twins have been in a win now window for 5 years, and I have wanted them to make trades in that window that can help them win now. So when I see a trade come across that's in that spirit, like, oh, this is good, like they're making moves to win now, they're being aggressive, I like that concept. But then when the trades turn out to be largely terrible, there is some room for grace, just some bad luck, or the team results weren't there, or whatever it is. But when you see terrible trade stacked on top of terrible trade, stacked on top of terrible trade, I don't know why you wouldn't then kind of circle back and like grab your magnifying glass and try and hone in on what's the deal there? Is there something underneath the hood here that needs to be examined? So yeah, I think on a macro level, I want them to make trades that can help them win now the last few years. On a micro level, I want them to make trades that are good. And if it's one trade that's bad, whatever. But if it's like 4 or 5 different moves that don't make sense, or like letting Lamont Wade go because you like Jake Cave, so stuff like that, I could name 10 examples, right? That's the conversation we're having when we criticize, I think, more than like, oh, it's like the Malley thing specifically.
Well, and they're right now, to go back to the word trust that Declan used, their track record on deadline deals to win is really bad. It's bad. If they make a trade on Tuesday, am I going to be like, I wonder if that's a good trade?
Yeah.
Almost certainly. Their deadline deals when they're dumping have been actually, I think, pretty decent. Presley probably would take that trade back with Houston, but I mean the Escobar trade got you Duran. I mean the Nelson Cruz trade was highway robbery.
Yeah.
So I think that we can, if we were to create files on Derek Falvey, a good trade file and a bad one, the amount of stuff in the bad trade file would probably predominantly come from deadline moves that have backfired consistently, and then throw in the Paddock one, which I think was made right before that season. But that's still a bizarre one, and that's the whole team control, right? Well, but they've got team control. Okay, well, they just gave up team control on Lopez because they consider him such a bust. So the team control people sort of lose their ammo when it's like you can't move that stick constantly.
Yeah. Okay, Dylan Foote chimes in and says, okay, I think somebody might need a refresher on the concept of reckless speculation Thursday here. But Dylan says, entertaining trading Brooks Lee for Josh Hader is the single most embarrassing segment in SKOR North history.
Wow. Well, then we're doing pretty good if that's the case.
Well, you threw it out there. I shot it down. You shot it down.
We all ultimately
shot it down.
We all ultimately shot it down. I did say if he had multiple years of control, like if I get him for 2 stretch runs, now it's a conversation. But for like 2 months of a rental, no. But that's what this Reckless Speculation Thursday is supposed to be, a safe space. Okay. If people are going to start judging people for throwing out trade ideas on Reckless Speculation Thursday, it really puts a damper on the safe space that we have crafted over the years, I feel like. Okay.
Agree completely.
You should be able to throw ideas out without fear of
that's the
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's the whole point of Thursday. Like, that's why Thursdays exist now, to allow us that reckless speculation platform. And now if we had all said, oh, hell yeah, make the trade, then I could be like, okay, that guy's right. We were morons. But I think the introduction of a trade, I think that's the spirit of Thursday. So
let's entertain the premise. Let's talk about it. Flesh it out. Okay. Yeah. Don't you think here?
I'm with you on this.
Probably happening inside One Twins Way, the address for Target Field, up in those posh left field offices by the foul pole.
Those are very nice offices.
They probably sit in a room. I can guarantee you this happens. They sit in a room. I've been in that war room before. That big, it's like a big conference room. Yeah, for one of the drafts, they invited media up there to just work all night. And there's plenty of collaboration space, whiteboards and stuff. You know what they probably do? They probably put a bunch of names on a board, or maybe they put a spreadsheet up with a projector. Hey, here's 10 guys that could help based on what we need at the deadline. Some right-handed bats. Goldschmidt's probably up there, right? We need some relievers too. A right-handed bat and some relievers. Josh Hader's name probably appears on a brainstorm list for the Twins front office. And then they discuss what would it take to get Josh Hader? Well, it would probably take Brooks Lee. What do you guys think? And then the answer is probably pretty quickly, no, we can't really do that. Let's move on to something else. But I guarantee you that type of stuff this time of year, I guarantee you Josh Hader's name has popped up in a collaboration at One Twins Way, which is the single most embarrassing thing that they've ever talked about.
How about instead of Brooks Lee, Spencer Steer?
Would have been nice.
Wait. They traded him. How about
now you're just picking at stabs and being mean.
How about Encarnacion Strand? Oh wait, he got traded in the same trade.
Now you're
anybody
being
seen Tyler?
This is mean spirited.
Anybody seen Malley?
Some people have suggested, well, if they can re-sign him, for a couple of years, right out the rehab, then it'll have maybe extended.
They haven't. No, they haven't.
I've seen that. God. Yeah.
Oh my God! Just stop it.
All right, we do have an Immaculate Grid challenge too, but let's say there's a fun event this weekend. Did I see today, Dex, that Justin Thomas put a bunch of balls in the water on 18?
Probably. I mean, so many guys put.
He's kind of train wrecking.
Yeah, a lot of guys put balls in the water. I saw that broken 9-iron. Did you see that shot on Thursday as well? Some guy literally from the rough with his 9-iron, like bends it in half and puts it 6 feet on the green from like 100 yards out. It was awesome. You can see some of the best golfers at the 3M Open this weekend. In fact, there'll be a cut line, or there'll be some guys that are able to distance themselves out. You have Tony Finau, who's trying to defend his title. So there's a lot of good golfers at the 3M Open. You can go to 3mopen.com/tickets to get yours for this weekend. Yes, it will be hot, but it'll be some of the hottest golfers on the course as well. So go to 3mopen.com/tickets to get yours today.
Also, speaking of hot, all right, you still have time. There is still plenty of time for you to right the wrong. And the wrong being that you didn't get out to one of the 3 Power Lodge locations or the Miller Marine location in St. Cloud and get into a pontoon. You are probably kicking yourself. Man, I could have been out cooling off, jumping in the lake, pumping some yacht rock on my Bennington pontoon, getting some throttle therapy. But there's still time, Judd. There's still time.
Oh, you know what? There's still plenty of time.
Michael McDonald's. Wow.
So, yep. To channel that, play that Michael McDonald on your Bennington. Look at that. Jump in the water, cool off. You know what? Throttle therapy. Sports fans in this town need that. And because it's been so hot, we even need throttle therapy more. Yeah, you're right, Phil. It's time for some yacht rock on the Bennington.
Yeah, you know what they say about the length of summer here going forward? There's such a long way to go. Bennington's available at millermarine.com and powerlodge.com. All right, 5 minutes on the clock here. We'll pop this up for the YouTube audience. It's the Immaculate Grid Challenge. We like to wrap the SKOR North Twin Show with the tic-tac-toe box of baseball history. We should try it again with Royce at some point, even though he was very much
I think
confused.
he had no interest in it, man.
Yeah.
But if he can grasp it, he's like this vault of, he can go back when we're looking for obscure scores, because like the more obscure players you can find, he goes back.
Stop with that. Stop with that crazy talk right now. Today we are going to try to get it right.
So here's what we're looking for. The Immaculate Grid. We need to go 9 for 9. If you get one wrong, you can't be immaculate. I think we've learned our lesson. Let's collaborate if we're not 100% sure. We're not going to throw Mike Leake out. We're not going to throw Bob Feller out. Okay? We are looking for a Tiger who was a Pirate, a Tiger who was a Red, and a Tiger with a 200 strikeout season. We're looking for a Ranger who was a Pirate, a Ranger who was a Red, and a Ranger with a 200 strikeout season. And we're looking for a Rocky who was a Pirate, a Rocky who was a Red, and a Rocky who had a 200 strikeout season.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Are you ready? 5 minutes on the clock. We must go 9 for 9. Here we go. This is a tough one already. Oh, my God.
All right, the Pirate Ranger is Burt Blyleven.
Ranger.
Wow, dude. That's incredible. That's going to be less than 5%. 3%. Judd.
Good job,
Thank
Judd.
you.
Off to the races here.
Thank you very much.
You want to knock off the Tigers of like Verlander? Or do we want to go
for like a 200 strikeout season?
Yeah.
Can we go further back? Jack Morris had could we go Jack Morris?
Sure.
Right?
He
Judd?
pitched so many innings.
I think he had to, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Are we
that's got to
good?
be right.
Jack Morris,
It'll be lower than Verlander. Yeah.
Pull the trigger.
8%. Good stuff.
Okay. There we go.
Yep.
Let's knock out the 200 strikeouts. So Texas, we know we can go Nolan Ryan, but who else besides Nolan Ryan?
Don't get cute.
Really? Let's just give it a second.
You're getting cute.
So yeah, I don't think C.J. Wilson got there. I'm trying to think of those teams that went to the World Series 12 years ago. Oh man.
Did Cliff? No,
I don't think he spent a full year there.
Mm-hmm. It's tough. There's probably some guys, but yeah, we should probably just go Nolan Ryan.
Okay.
I can see Judd getting all tense, so let's just get back to it. Yeah,
that's fine. You know what? It's not, but we didn't get there. And so
how about the Rockies' pitching has been historically awful.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Rocky with who was the
Ubaldo
Jimenez.
Did he do it, Phil? Are you good at that?
He was the only one I could think of. So if anyone, it's probably Ubaldo, right?
I'm just trying to think of other Rocky pitchers who we consider to be halfway decent, but yeah, it probably. I mean,
Mike Hampton went and train wrecked in Colorado.
He was terrible there.
God, he did train wreck. That's a good point.
You guys good with Ubaldo?
Yep.
It's either him or John Gray.
Oh my God, I don't know, man. Guys don't pitch enough to get 200 strikeouts as much anymore.
You want to try it?
Yep.
Let's do Ubaldo.
Yep, give it a shot.
70.
Okay, that's fine.
jeez.
Nothing wrong with that.
70%. This might just be kind of tough to
Did
get. the obscure ones.
Lariano pitch for the Tigers? Did he go to the Tigers?
Went to the White Sox. Went to the Pirates.
Yep.
I thought he ended with. I thought
Boy,
Pittsburgh was his last stop.
Did Neftali Feliz play for the Tigers?
Neftali Feliz. Wow.
Oh God.
McCutcheon didn't play for the Rockies?
No.
What about some of these Reds? We got 2.5 minutes left. So
Okay.
a Red. What about Bronson Arroyo? Was he a Ranger?
He was a Red. I know he was a Red Sox and a Red. I don't know him as a Ranger.
Question: Does it need to be a player and not
Yes.
a manager?
Yes.
Needs to be a
Okay.
player. Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No
Gotcha.
Mike
Okay.
Tomlin moves.
Because obviously Sparky Anderson. managed
I
both
think
those teams.
Todd Jones pitched for the Reds and the Tigers, but I'm only like 60% sure, and we only have 2 minutes left. So
then we're good. Yeah.
Todd
Todd Jones.
Jones.
Former
Sorry in
Twins.
advance. Sorry.
Yes, 0.5. 0.5.
Let's go.
Nice. That's a great call. That's a great call.
I'm telling you, like a power hitters for the Rangers.
Cincinnati and did Buddy Bell play for Cincinnati?
Wow.
Because he played third base for
Hank
Texas.
Blaylock.
Blaylock
Pitchers?
Teixeira.
Pitchers? We got any
This is so hard.
relievers or any?
The Pirates. Wow.
Did Lloyd McClendon play for the Tigers? Because he played for the Pirates, and then I know he was with the Tigers. but-
Obscure.
Tiger Pirate.
Oh,
I think
wow.
of catchers too. Sometimes catchers will kind of float around.
Yeah, Tom Prince, guys like that.
Boy.
Did Mike LaValliere ever play for the Tigers?
We got 1 minute left.
around.
We have 4 left to guess.
Oh, cripes.
We're pretty screwed here.
Well, and then the Rocky Pirate. I mean, it's probably obvious, but I can't. I'm just drawing a blank.
You want to just start trying some stuff here?
Sure. Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like Bronson Arroyo might have pitched for the Rangers, but I don't know, dude. I don't think that's true.
Can I try it?
You could try it just for fun.
He did not.
He did not. Yeah. We got 30 seconds left, so we're pretty much screwed here. Is this the hardest one that we've had to
Oh
deal
my
with?
God, this is.
Yeah. Well, the Rockies makes it hard too. But
Because their history is
I'm
not
just
long enough.
I'm drawing blanks. Try Buddy Bell as far as Cincinnati and Texas. Buddy Bell.
Buddy Bell.
Yeah, 4%.
Oh, Judd, you got it. That's a good one. All right, 10 seconds left here.
Oh, Tigers Pirates. Come on, we gotta have one.
Fail. All right, so we can just like fill these out quick, but we failed in our attempt to Mauer. Just put Mauer for all of them.
Mauer.
Fred Mauer. Fred Mauer played for both of them.
All right, let's see some results here.
All right,
So
that's not good. That's not.
the average score is under 6, which is incredibly low.
This is one of the hardest ones.
The most common answers. Yeah, Neftali Feliz. Well, he went. Oh, I should have gotten that potentially for Rangers. But John Harrison for Tigers and Pirates. These are current guys for sure. Connor Joe for Pirates and Rock. Again, these are current guys. The young. Oh, you guys, Josh Hamilton. That would have been fine for Rangers and Reds.
Yeah, Josh Hamilton was obvious.
Castellanos for Reds and
Moustakis.
Moose. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What are
you
the
know what?
percentages here? So, wow. So fewer than 50% with 3 squares.
Three squares.
Wow.
I don't feel bad about this, you guys. I don't feel bad about this.
I want to see. So the Rockies are German Marquez, who did it.
Herman Marquez.
And then Pedro Astacio. He had a 5 ERA and still struck out Twitter guys. So that's it.
Dude, that is
I don't feel bad
only
about
3 ever. Oh my gosh.
Only 3 ever. And
Wait,
Rangers,
you know what? Good job for hanging in there.
CJ Wilson did do it.
For who?
The Rangers. He did do it.
Texas.
Yep. Cole Hamels, Mark Minor, Lance Lynn. I forgot Lance Lynn had a cup of coffee there in 2019.
That's rough, man. All right, that was. We'll take our lumps. We'll review the film and we'll get better. For
I don't
the
feel
Monday
that
State of
bad.
the Twins episode.
At least we didn't get cute.
No, we probably
We
should
didn't
have
get cute
gotten
this
more
time.
cute, quite frankly. But all right, guys, thank you for hanging out with us here on the SKOR North Twins Show, where we just want the Twins to win a damn playoff game for the first time in almost 20 years. See you next time.